Hello there. My name is Maury. I'm with my co-host Corey, and we are the Real Guys. This is Siren Radio, and this is the Real Show with two E's. The music you just heard was the Imperial Suite by Michael Giacchino from 2016's Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. We've got a packed show for you today for this special broadcast, and we are your number one platform on the airwaves and YouTube for pop culture, film, and television discussion. As always, I'm accompanied by my co-host Corey. How are you doing today, Corey?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
You notice I don't ask you how you were in 2016.
Yeah.
Actually, you were alive in, Corey.
I was actually around at that point.
Yeah, so I can't say. We are at Instagram on The Real Show FM and on Twitter on The Real Show FM. So I've done the obligatory plugs. Let's get into the episodes.
Yeah.
Now, a few weeks ago, if I can cast your mind back, Corey, cast it like a fishing rod. Cast it back all the way to our Oscar episode. We talked about one Riz Ahmed, who was nominated for The Sound of Metal, I do believe.
He was indeed.
Yes, and I mentioned that another film he was in was Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. And now we come to May. This is broadcasting on the 1st of May. It should be out on all of our platforms. So with that, we are kick-starting our Star Wars month of May, which is a month full of content all about George Lucas's great vision, which is Star Wars. Hey, it's cause for celebration, Corey.
Hopefully we get no bad Christmas specials this month or anything else.
No, we're not going to do the holiday special episode. We're not going to do the holiday special over again. But no, I don't want to put myself through that torture. But anyway, we're here. We're going to be reviewing Rogue One: A Star Wars Story because we promised that we would.
Yeah.
It is the one weekly rec so far, the one film so far to get 10 reels.
It is. I forgot that.
Do you know that?
Well, yeah, I was there.
Remember that?
I was
yes,
there.
That's why I didn't say that we may not give this a real rating in the end. We may just review it and just say, hey, it's got 10 reels. Let's just, you know what? Let's set a precedent. If something gets 10 reels, we have to give it a full review. All
right, that makes sense.
So let's go on to how this started. It started off with John Knoll. Are you familiar with John Knoll?
Kind of.
Right. He's a visual effects supervisor. He was looking over, back to the story, he was looking over the projects that were coming out and he wasn't impressed with them. He's like, right, I don't think these are good. So then he was looking through episode 4 again and, we've done the Clone Wars already, yeah. But then he found the first line in the text. The first line, it is a period of civil war, rebel spaceships striking from a hidden base, steal the plans of the Death Star, right?
Yeah.
So he took that and he thought, well, why don't we do something on that? Now, it had already been done before with a video game called Dark Forces. A character called Kyle Katarn was one of the main characters of that game, and he was the one that took the Death Star plans. So they're going to retroactively... Kyle Katarn is no longer in canon, but these characters are. And, yeah, John Knoll heard about some of the early concepts. He wasn't impressed. He developed his idea for the film and took it up to the ILM employees, Industrial Light and Magic, which is a sort of visual effects company that Lucasfilm and Disney own now. He refined the story into sort of a 13-minute booster pitch and took it up to Kathleen Kennedy, who was a big producer at Lucasfilm. I think she's still the head of Lucasfilm at this day. The president of Lucasfilm. And she loved the idea, loved the pitch, and the movie was instantly put into production. And a couple of years later, we are now looking at Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. So that is just the origin for you. Let's get into some of the meat of this, film, and I will let Corey take it from here.
Yeah. So now, because this was a rec, we're going to assume everyone has already seen it. So spoilers are coming.
We will say spoilers ahead.
Spoilers are coming.
Spoilers ahead.
This
if anyone
also
who hasn't seen Rogue One, what are you doing here? Go out and watch it.
Yeah. This also may not be as linear as our other reviews.
No, we're going to try and take a bit more of a free-form approach. We're not going to just recite the plot to you because we assume you've already seen it, listener.
Yeah.
So instead, we will just go through our notes, go through our thoughts, go through our any discussion or debate that derives from that. Then we will just sit back and have fun with it. We're going to play it a bit more fast and loose here today.
Yeah. So, however, I do think it's best we do start with a little backstory before the actual credits of the film start.
Mm-hmm.
So we start off, right? There's a little girl. Little girl's on the run.
Do you know what that planet is called?
I don't. No.
It's called Lamu.
Okay, we're on Lamu.
Lamu. It is LAH-MU. Lamu. That's the name of the planet, and that is actually revealed in a book called Rogue One Catalyst, which I have read. and it's very good. If
Very
you'd like to, it's written by, I think, James Luceno, who's written a couple of other Star Wars sort of new canon novels. So if you're interested in learning a bit more about the film, especially the backstory of some of the characters, read Rogue One Catalyst. Continue.
Yes, so we're on Lamu, and this girl who is later revealed to be Jin, we don't know who she is yet, however, running, there's a ship, she's being chased. Essentially, what ends up happening is, we find out that her father, Galen, used to work for the Imperials.
Played by Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, does a fantastic job.
Yes.
This Krennic has come back, and he's like, Galen tells him that his wife's passed away. She hasn't. She comes running up to him in a minute.
Yeah.
He wants Galen to come back, to come work for the Imperials again. He needs him back. They were really close. But essentially, what's happening is, Jin runs off. Galen ends up working for the Imperials. Jin's mother gets shot.
Yes.
And Jin is left to be saved by a man called Saw Gerrera, who we briefly see before, telling Jin's mother, saying essentially, you know what to do. He's already told him what to do. Credits roll. Bang. Rogue One. We don't get the scrolling credits, I don't believe.
No, we don't. We do not. This is the first one, so without a crawl.
Yeah.
It just kicks you right into it, but it starts that same sort of Star Warsy feeling with the music and the little musical notes, and the camera rises to the starfield, and you get a little ship moving.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things with Rogue One that I also like, is the fact that, first off, none of these characters we know of.
Yes.
From the films. None we know of. But even Saw Gerrera, who you see straight away, and you're like, okay, right, this is going to be somewhat of a big guy, right? He's saving the daughter. It's obvious that Jin is the main character of the film, or one of them. But Saw Gerrera is not even in this film for much. He disappears for most of it and then comes back near the start.
Yeah, he does.
And
I'll just say that I mentioned this before during our sort of pre-recording chat that Saw Gerrera is the first character to come from an animated show, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, that started in 2008, and make the transition into live action, which was unheard of before now. No one had ever done that. No character had ever come from an animated show of Star Wars into an actual live action film. So it's very, and of course, Saw Gerrera's had more expansion recently. He was in Star Wars Rebels, played by Forrest Whitaker again. He was in, I don't know whether you've played it, Jedi Fallen Order, which is a video game that Saw Gerrera also shows up in. Yeah, he's become definitely more of an expansive character. I think he was in the 4th or 5th season of Clone Wars. And he just he was a rebel on a planet called Onderon that had been taken over by the Separatists and by the Droid army. And yeah, he was a rebel, and he's still a rebel now against the Empire with his sort of partisan group, which is what they're called.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that with Rogue One I quite enjoy. The characters, you don't know much about them, but they still work. You've got Jin, who you kind of know about, and about her father, and about her mum. You've got Cassian, who you don't really know much about. You've got K2, who again, is an old droid. He's an Imperial droid. But how did you probably know, but you don't know how we ended up with Cassian in the first place.
Oh yeah, there's a comic that explains how they.
Yeah. And then
this will be a lot of Corey says something. And then Murray butts in with some kind of law-based response.
And then you've got, is it Baze? Bars?
Baze Malbus, yeah.
Yes.
One of the Guardians of the Whills. He's with Chirrut Imwe on Jeddah.
Yeah, they're on Jeddah. They get introduced, and again, it's they're just there. It's obviously explained that Chirrut is blind, which is apparently Donnie Yen's idea.
It was. Donnie Yen actually thought, wouldn't it be cool if he was blind? I think he was thinking about sort of blind sensei characters.
Yeah.
Who know exactly what's going on around them without even see it. So it's like that classic Jackie Chan line. I think it's Jackie Chan in Karate Kid, the one with
Willow Smith. Yeah.
Jackie Chan goes, "You see only with your eyes, so you are easy to fool."
Yeah.
So Donnie Yen, Chirrut Imwe, sees more. He's got them. It's also implied that yes, he is force sensitive, or he's at least or at least he can use that sort of phrase. He goes, "I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me. I'm one with the Force with me." While he's holding his staff, and he was using. It's actually explained, I think, in the novelization that he does use slight influences of the Force. Like he can sense the way someone's feeling.
Yeah.
Like he says, "Oh, the Force moves darkly around a creature that's about to kill," or something.
Yes.
Like that, the way he's describing Cassian. And also, the Death Troopers weren't bad at shooting; they were just missing because he was using the Force to deflect the blaster bolts.
Yeah. Well, there's also the part with the pilot, and he knows that when they're in the cell, he knows
Bodhi Rook.
Yeah, he knows the pilot's in there. He knows he's in there. And he's like, "Oh, who's that in the cell behind us?"
Yeah, he can sense him.
Yeah, Bodhi's in there again. He's not explained. All we know is he was sent by Galen to give a message.
Yeah.
To Saw, and then he gets like his mind messed up by this creature.
But the Borg Gullet, it's sort of, I don't know why recent Star Wars has this sort of obligatory tentacle monster scene in every film, but Star Wars has an obligatory tentacle monster scene in every film.
It does.
I don't know who could possibly be behind that, But anyway, yeah, the Borg Gullet is like, well, every Star Wars film has to have some kind of, iconic creature, right? Like the Rancor, the Wampa, the Banther, So now we have Borg Gullet, who is just a big squid. Actually, I was watching this on Disney Plus, and the quality of the film is absolutely. I could see every single, bulbous tentacle shift on Borg Gullet's massive, hideous body. It was like, my God, this resolution is, it was perfect.
But yeah, I mean, like, all the characters are really good. And again, spoiler, none of them survive.
No, and that takes guts in a Star Wars film. It's like Episode 4. If everybody the Death Star just blew up Yavin and everybody exploded.
Everyone's gone. I mean, like, it's you get to the battle at the end, and like Bodhi dies because he gets blown up. Chirrut dies because he gets blown up.
Bodhi does incredibly unceremoniously.
He does.
He manages to send the message up to Admiral Raddus and up to the fleet.
Yeah.
And up to the Rebel fleet above Scarif. And then suddenly this shore trooper just runs by, lobs this thermal imploder into the shuttle that he's in, and just blows it up completely.
Yeah.
That was very unceremonious.
He's gone. Chirrut dies. By again, the console gets shot. He blows up. Mars dies by getting shot.
Baze.
Oh no, is he blown up as well?
No. Baze, like, his gun, his gun can like do a rapid fire. It can also do like a power blast. He changes his gun to the power blast. He guns down all the Death Troopers.
Yeah.
One of them's got a thermal imploder in his hand. Baze shoots him just in time. The guy falls over. The thermal imploder's still going to go off.
Yeah.
Baze sort of turns. He sees the shuttle blow up and thinks, "Oh, that's Bodhi dead,"
Yeah. And
then he just accepts, "Oh, I'm with my best friend. Might as well." And the thermal imploder blows up and kills him.
Yeah. And like the final two, Jyn and Cassian are left, and they die by this Death Star, essentially.
They die by impending Death Star wave.
It's just like a nuke. You can see it. You can see it coming.
You can see the wave of death coming towards you, and you're like, "Well, we're on this beach. We might as well hug and have a nice time." And Cassian awkwardly opening his eyes before the death wave hits him.
Yeah, I'm really glad, because I was watching this, right, and I was like, but they do hints of it. And one thing that annoys me with the latest Star Wars trilogy is that it feels like they shoehorned in this like weird relationship with Rey and Kylo Ren, where it's like they like each other now, they're in a relationship. I was watching Rogue One, and I was like, they're sat there on a beach. It's like, please don't kiss before you blow up.
Oh no, they just have a nice friendly hug, and then they blow up.
But it's implied. We hold hands and then they hug. I'm like, that's fine. And then they die anyway. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
No. I walked into this film thinking, right, yes, most of them may die. But I think 3 of them will get out, and we'll just get some weird half-handed explanation as to why they're not in any of the films.
Yeah.
Right? Like they'll go so far out to the galaxy, we'll never see them ever again, or maybe we'll see them in, I don't know, a future film or something, or old or whatever. There was loads of theories going around, theories that they're actually the Knights of Ren. Have you seen that?
I haven't actually, no.
That the Rogue One crew are actually the Knights of Ren, which they're not. Theories that the Rogue One crew are like held somewhere in like stasis or something like that. But no, they all die. And I think that's the best move they could have taken.
Yeah.
Because it would have been so contrived to have them, you didn't see them for 4, 5, and 6, but they were alive, kind of thing.
Yeah, and like Krennic dies as well.
He does. I think, you know what? people sleep on Krennic, and I think director Krennic as the villain of this film is so awesome.
No, Krennic's great.
He is underrated. Ben Mendelsohn, my God, have my children.
Krennic's great.
He's pulling out all the stops. He's going 100 miles an hour. He's giving it all guns blazing. You can tell that Ben Mendelsohn just loves Star Wars and wants to be in it, and he's always wanted this. He's really giving it. He's charismatic. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. I love Krennic so much.
No, he is really good. There's a scene where like he goes to Galen and he's like, "Oh, bring in all your engineers. I
love that bit.
It's like, oh, I've got something to tell them. And it's like, oh, one of you has conspired with a pilot, and then he's essentially going to kill one of them.
One of you betrayed the Empire.
Yeah, and he's like, and then he says counting down, and then he gets to like essentially nearly 0. Galen pops up, says, "Oh, they've got nothing to do with it," and then he just shoots them all anyway.
He has Galen walk up to him, and he just goes fire, and all of I love how he says fire. The guy, when they're doing a Death Star test at Jeddah, right, and the guy goes up to him, Captain Patero goes up to him and says, "Right, we're ready to shoot the Death Star now." And Krennic doesn't do, what Tarkin does. Tarkin goes, "Oh, you made fire when ready."
Yeah.
Very, very calm. Krennic just goes, "Fire!" Just go.
Yeah, he's very like, like he's got like pumped up with adrenaline or something.
Yeah, I like that. But I think just to mention, Ben Mendelsohn is obviously an Australian actor.
Yeah.
Most Imperials are played by English actors because it was a very colonial British Empire type thing. And Krennic, his voice doesn't sound, because obviously Ben Mendelsohn's Australian. He tried to make it sound like he was more working class of a villain.
Yeah.
Like, you get more of that in Rogue One Catalyst as well. You get more the sense that Krennic is trying to beef himself up. He's trying to pick himself up, like he's wearing a cape, he's in white. He's got this very confident and sort of braggadocious way about him. He's swaggering everywhere. He's got his cape. He's shouting at people. He likes to think that he's the big man in the situation. And I think that level of subtlety to a Star Wars villain is normally Star Wars villains are just big guys in suits with lightsabers and stuff like that, and people who never say a word. But I think the amount of character subtlety in a Star Wars villain like Director Krennic is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so like he dies by the Death Star.
The Death Star like takes out that tower he's on.
Yeah.
Completely, like Tarkin had that pinpointed. Literally, Krennic looks up, the Death Star laser is like looking right at him, and it just completely clips the tower that he's on.
Yeah,
like, he got the brunt of that shot, hoisted by his own petard.
Yeah, and then also Galen dies.
Yeah, Galen dies. Galen's blown up by.
I literally think no one survives this film. K2 dies as well.
Yeah, right. Look, I think I knew what was happening when Kate. Right, obviously, you can kill the droid.
Yeah.
But I felt more emotion for the droid than some of the human characters.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, not the K2. It's like a dog. It's like, K2's innocent in this. He's just a droid.
Well, yeah, but I feel like, and the thing with droids is, it's because he can talk that helps. Like, R2-D2 is great, but you don't know what he's saying, but he's still got character. But like K2, he can talk, he can interact.
He's funny, he's really like...
He's sarcastic.
He's funny, he goes, I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
Yeah.
Also, a little reference there. Jin says she found the blaster, she stole it.
Yeah.
It's in the comic, she pinches it out of some guy's, holster. She steals it, she didn't find it. So, I think that's just a fun little reference there. But yeah, this film is full of little references. I've got a list here. In Star Wars Rebels, the main ship, the Ghost, appears in this film.
It does.
It's in the Yavin hangar, and it's in the Battle of Scarif. It's flying around. Chopper from Star Wars Rebels, the droid, is in the background of one of the shots. Geneva O'Reilly and Jimmy Smits both turn up in this. There for Episode 3, Mon Mothma and Bail Organa. On Over the Tannoy, you can hear someone calling for General Syndulla. Hera Syndulla is a Star Wars Rebels character. So yeah, it's full of these little references and nods. And the guy, right, look, this is one of my favourite things.
Yeah.
The guy, do you remember the bald guy that talks to Tarkin around about the end of the film? His sort of assistant.
Yes.
That guy's a character. That guy's got a character because everyone has a character in Star Wars. That guy's a guy called General Hurst Ramadi, who's actually in episode. It's a different actor, obviously.
Yeah.
But the guy's in episode 4. He's in the Death Star meeting. He's in the meeting where Darth Vader chokes Admiral Motti with a force choke. He's sat at the back. He's in that meeting. So I think it's a nice, cool little character cameo there from General Ramadi. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
Things that there's connections throughout the film.
That's another good thing about this film. I've got because there's 2 other parts in this film that are references to Rogue One itself. There's the part of the start where Chirrut gets mentioned or gets seen for the first time, and he's like, "Oh, it was like the most powerful stars have hearts of Kyber," which is a reference to the Death Star.
Yeah.
Because the Death Star is a powerful star that is being used with Kyber crystals. And then the other thing that with Chirrut is when they've all got the bags over their head. Chirrut's the only one who doesn't stumble. He just walks fine because he's blind.
He's blind.
And I love that.
That was ad-lib. Another ad-lib line there. He goes, "Are you kidding me? I'm blind." She's carrying away with it. That got a massive laugh. I saw this in the cinema when it first came out. That got a massive laugh. The characters in this film are so good. And it's another reason why I'm always disappointed when I watch the other Star Wars films that came after this. I was really disappointed because I watched this and I was like, I just don't care for like Rey or Finn or Kylo as much as I do these people. It's funny. It's funny how Rogue One, such a short story, it's only about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Can get you to care about these characters faster than 3 films of a main trilogy or a sequel trilogy.
Yeah. And it's
we've talked about the heroes. We've talked about Krennic a bit. Let's get into the characters who actually stay throughout some films. Let's go into Vader. Let's go into Tarkin, because Vader was bigged up a lot in this.
Yeah,
he was in the trailers. You sort of heard his breathing at the end. You saw like a shot of him sort of looking at some kind of data or whatever. There was quite a bit of Vader, and people are hyping up that Vader's going to be in this film. Oh, Vader's going to get some cool action. People saying like, "Oh yeah, Vader's going to kill." It'll be Vader that will kill everyone or something like that. But Vader does kill everyone, but in a different scene.
Yeah.
Which was actually late in production. That was sort of added at Gareth Edwards' request, the director of this film, because he was like, "Oh, we need some more Vader. We need Vader to have like a big awesome moment." So he thought like, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if like?" Also, it's also canonical that Vader was the one stopping that door from opening.
Yeah,
he was holding it closed with the Force because he didn't want the plans to get away.
Yeah.
So
he couldn't fully close the door, could he?
No, he couldn't fully close it. It was a big door. He had to keep it closed just enough for them to think they could get through.
Yeah.
But then not, because that's what Vader is. Vader's a sadistic monster of a man. He's the dark side of the Force. He's got the power. He wants you to think you can escape, but you can't really escape because he's hacking through people. He's force choking that guy to the wall. He lifts that guy. That was brutal in the cinema. I didn't think they'd do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I know lightsabers cauterize wounds immediately.
They
but
do.
He has that guy up on the ceiling and he goes, cuts him in half. Whoa. Vader, and that's one of the best Star Wars scenes ever put to film. It was ruthless to watch in a film, but it was great nonetheless.
Vader also has the scene with Krennic where they have the meeting, and he's like, he's talking about the Death Star and how it worked, how it was successful. And
that's on Mustafar, by the way. Did you know that from episode 3?
Oh, right.
Do you know that? Yeah, that's where Vader's castle is. It's on Mustafar. The same. I think it's at the same place where Anakin got his limbs cut off.
Oh,
well, it's near there.
Yeah.
Because I know the Emperor made Vader build his castle. There's a whole comic book about a whole run of comics about how Vader made his castle with this Sith Lord called Nomin, who was possessed by who possessed this sort of ancient Sith mask. And Momin was this Sith architect, and he worked with Vader to create his castle. And Gareth Edwards has said that the castle looks that way. It looks like a tuning fork because he tunes in with the dark side.
Yeah.
See, it looks like a tuning fork. I actually have that Lego set. I'm looking at it right now. I have Vader's castle Lego set. It's this big triangle with like a spire at the top, the tuning fork section.
Yeah, and then in that scene, he's like, "Oh, so am I still in charge?" And then he gets choked out.
That was the Clone Wars force choke noise. That was the force choke noise from Star Wars: The Clone Wars they used there, where it goes. Normally, what would happen is Vader just, like in A New Hope, Vader just does his finger pinch,
Yeah.
and then Admiral Motti starts choking. But the Clone Wars noise, it's like, or something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
like that. Before he gets you, and that's the noise where you know the Force Joke's coming. And like, it's great. Vader's just one in a million. He's absolutely
he does for slightly. He starts choking, and he just does the slow turn, where his hands kind of just in a different
the slow
position.
turn. He doesn't want to sit. He's like, oh, I've got something in my throat, Vader.
Yeah.
And Vader pulls out that line. I can do that. I can do the impression if you like.
Go for it.
He goes, "Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director." And that's, people say that Darth Vader shouldn't have said that line because it was too jokey. But let's be honest, he's still Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
This is where the fun begins. He's still Anakin Skywalker in there. It's not like Vader did say that kind of stuff before. Like, he goes, "Oh, apology accepted, Captain Needa," right after he kills Captain Needa.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You failed me for the last time, Admiral." And then as Admiral Ozzel is, choking on the floor, Vader's always been like that. He's always been, "Oh, I'll kill you, but I'll make a nice joke about it while I do it."
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I'll make a quip. That's how Vader is. But let's go on and let's talk about, let's talk Tarkin. Let's talk some Tarkin. Right?
Okay.
Because we were pushing for cushion.
Yeah.
And we got it. There was an early rumor that we'd be getting Grand Moff Tarkin in this film.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it like years before the film came out. I don't think years, but like quite a few months before the film came out. I saw a rumor saying, "Oh, they're going to have Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One." I was like, "Oh, how are they going to do that? They can't. They're just going to get a guy that looks like him. He's going to show up in a hologram somewhere."
Yeah.
But no, we get him. And he's in the film for quite a bit, and he has a CGI face. And right. I have a policy that some CGIing a human, it's very hard, and it does date the film slightly because he does look a bit like a PS4 cutscene at times. But there are also times, especially when that first scene, where they sort of keep him in the shadows a bit, where he looks really, really good. And I'm not gonna doubt the performance, not in a million years. I've met the person that does the performance. As I said before, I've met Guy Henry, the guy that does the did the mocap and the voice for Tarkin. And he is a very, very lovely man, and I'd love to meet him again sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the voice and the performance and the mannerisms spot on perfect. The CGI, I know it took a while to do, and there's a couple of YouTube videos out there that sort of explain how they do it. First off, they just binge watched every single Tarkin scene over and over again to check how he'd look, how his eyes would move, how he'd smile, how he'd sort of how his head would turn, that kind of thing. But also, they found a cast of Peter Cushing's face. Peter Cushing went and did a film where he had to play a character with like a malformed eye or something like that. And they found a full body cast. They found a full body cast of his face and his head. And they thought, "Oh, this is dynamite, perfect." To have that scanned in. So literally, they did every single refinement, try and get it good. And one of people's biggest complaints is that sometimes the CGI doesn't work, and I do know how hard it is to do anything like that. To create a character who's, for the actor, has been dead for probably more than 20 years, and definitely more than 20 years, and to bring him back to the screen again.
I mean, it was good. Yeah. If you went.
What did you think? Did you see this in cinemas in 2016?
No.
No. When did you first watch this film?
I think still 2016, but DVD.
Right, fair enough. I saw this when this first came out, and there wasn't much of a reaction when Tarkin showed up.
Yeah.
But when speaking to my parents afterwards, they thought he was real.
Yeah, this is what I was about to say. Like, if you showed it to someone who didn't know that it was CGI, but if you also showed it to someone who didn't know that the guy playing him wasn't actually
because
alive,
he was dead. Yeah.
They wouldn't have realised.
No, my mum was questioning if he was dead, if he was actually dead.
Yeah.
She's like, "No, he must be. He must be dead."
Yeah.
But for a while she was questioning it, and she just thought that they found someone who looked exactly like him, and could do the exact voice and everything. They didn't realise it was CGI. But I think it's the way they frame it. That initial scene where, he's in the shadows a bit. You can see him sort of the reflection on that Star Destroyer window looked really, really good. And if they just kept him standing at that window, it would have been fine. But he turns around. He's in the shadows of it, so that's fine. The next scene he's in, you do sort of see his silhouette, and that's all right. They do take steps to mask it. Like, they do it in long shot for quite a few times.
Yeah.
They keep him in long shot, which is good. So yeah, I did like how Tarkin was handled. It's not like Tarkin is doing anything that Tarkin wouldn't do. And in fact, that was respectful to Peter Cushing's estate, that Tarkin is handled how Tarkin would be handled. Like, he's enigmatic, he's cold, he's calculating. That's how Tarkin should be. He undermines Krennic at every turn. He's got this sort of rivalry with him. And in the end, Tarkin wins out, and Tarkin sort of takes credit for the Death Star operation, which technically, if you read Rogue One Catalyst, it was Tarkin's operation for most of it, because he was Grand Moff, and Krennic was part of this group called the Strategic Advisory Cell, which was in charge of creating the Death Star with the Joint Chiefs. Basically, if you watch Episode 4, which is what I should have done after I saw Rogue One, I remember I did it once. Like, I remember when Disney Plus first came out, I watched Rogue One, and I immediately afterwards watched Episode 4, and it feels like the same. If you follow our Twitter at The Real Show FM, I tweeted a few months ago a few weeks ago, when I watched Rogue One again. I was like, oh, Gareth Edwards does a really good job of capturing this 1977, Episode 4, bit grimy, low sci-fi feel, where everything's smoking and everything's got fire in it, and everything's very. It feels like authentic, A New Hope, 1977 sci-fi.
Yeah,
this film, and that's what carries out. That's why some people think it's better than the sequel. Think it's better because it recaptures that feeling, not just through nostalgia. Because they have remember this, remember ATSTs, remember Dr. Everson and Ponda Barber in that one scene in Jeddah. Those guys showed up.
Yeah,
but I think it's funny, right? Look, those two guys from the bar fight in Mozarty Cantina. He says the exact same line to Jyn Erso. He goes, "You just watch yourself. We're wanted men," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought, does he do that to everybody he bumps into in the street? Is that like his routine? Is Dr. Everson just bumping into people in the street going, "You just watch yourself, we're wanted men," every time? I have the death sentence on 12 systems. Luke goes, I'll be careful. He goes, "You'll be dead." "You'll be dead." That's how he says it. Oh dear.
I mean,
I think I'm having way too much fun with this one.
I mean, yeah, so he's back, Vader's back, C-3PO and R2-D2 are in it.
Oh yeah,
very,
Scarif.
very briefly.
We're going to Scarif.
Which, that also makes Anthony Daniels the only person to be in every single Star Wars film. Because he's in essentially everyone as C-3PO, and he's in Solo as, is it Tak? Is that the name of his character in Solo?
I think so. I don't think he's C-3PO. He's
not. He's someone else. But he's in every single Star Wars film.
Yeah, good for him. Keep
mental.
showing up. He's rivaling sort of Warwick Davis on the amount of times he's in Star Wars films.
But they're in it. Leia's in it at the end.
Warwick Davis is also in Rogue One, by the way. Did you know that?
No.
No, Warwick Davis is in this film. He plays. Oh God, why can't I think of the name of the character? He's one of Saw Gerrera's partisans.
Okay.
He's one of Saw Gerrera's partisans. I think. Oh no, the character of.
You'll get.
I'm trying to think what his character's name is. I can't for the life of me. But I was trying to think of. I know in Solo he plays the same character he played as he did in Episode 1.
Yeah.
Episode 1, Phantom Menace, he plays someone on Tatooine, this character called Weasel, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then in Solo, he plays that same character again, but sort of aged and with Empress Nest's group. I've just found the name of his character. Would you like to know who his character's called in Rogue One?
What's his character called in Rogue One?
He's called Weeteef Chewie.
Nice. Weeteef
Chewie. And he's, the small member of Saw Gerrera's partisans, this sort of little alien guy. He's got, cool faces in prosthetics, obviously. But yeah, it looked good. I like to see Warwick Davis should just keep showing up in every single Star Wars.
Oh, he should.
Why not?
Always just be there.
Keep giving him roles.
I also love that Anthony Daniels got very, very jealous of Alan Tudyk because apparently he was really good at mocap.
Yeah, right. There's behind the scenes footage of Alan Tudyk, running around on stilts, with a massive backpack, with like K2SO's head on the top or something, like a big, something for the actors to look at.
Yeah,
it's quite funny to see actually. But let's go on to sort of the actors. By the way, everybody pulls it out of the park here.
Yes.
Everyone does really well. Diego Luna, Felicity Jones, as we mentioned, Donnie Yen, and I don't know the name of the guy that plays Baze Malbus, but he does good as well. As we mentioned, Guy Henry, who's portraying Tarkin, very hard job.
Jiang Wen is Baze Malbus.
Pardon?
Jian Wang.
Jian Wang, okay.
There you
go. Ben Mendelsohn, as we've said, is like, to be honest, I think out of everybody in Rogue One, I'm with Krennic. Krennic is my favourite character from Rogue One. I feel like he's just the best. I think that I know classic Murray siding with the heel, siding with the villain, but I think that honestly Krennic is a complete showstopper. He's a scene stealer. I just can't keep my eyes off him.
Yeah,
and he's got like
we were talking about this before. I'm Team Chirrut.
Yeah, you are. We mentioned that.
I'm Team Imway.
Yeah, you are. You're Team Chirrut Imway. And Chirrut Imway's great. He's got the Force and one with the Force with me. That phrase kind of took off after this film.
Yeah.
It featured in the Clone Wars, even during the last season of the Clone Wars. He's got he fights with a stick. It's so cool to see. But right, I'm a big fan of It Man. I'm a big fan of Donnie Yen.
Yes.
Right? And anytime you can sort of get Donnie Yen fights stormtroopers in this film. I've
does.
always wanted to see Donnie Yen fight stormtroopers. He's swinging his stick around. He does like a drop kick from the stick. He's like jumping up and jumping around and whacking the guys. He's twirling the stick. My favourite move he does is when it's on Jeddah and he's fighting the stormtroopers. It's just after he uses that one, the human shield.
I think I know what
he
you're going to
grabs
say.
this one guy. He slams his stick into this guy's foot. And he goes, "Is your foot all right?" And then he hits him in the head with a stick. Oh, it's Donnie Yen is great, and it has been said that Chirrut Imway does fight with doesn't use the Force, but he uses the Force to sort of sense his environment and know where everything is. So that's how he's really skilled at sort of reading people. And also, I don't know whether I've mentioned this before. I think we did during our sort of pre-recording sort of chat amble that when they're pinned down on the beach on Scarif, a little reference by the way, Scarif is called Scarif because when Gareth Edwards first came to America, he went to Starbucks and he ordered a coffee. And when he wrote his name down, obviously he wrote, because you write your name down at Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
He wrote Gareth, and the woman who was giving his coffee pronounced it Scarif.
Nice.
So Scarif. So he thought, that's a cool. That word sounds cool. So he took Scarif, and now we have the planet Scarif. But back to, they're all pinned down by the Death Troopers. And by the way, the Death Troopers are really underrated. That's such a good design.
Yeah.
That's such a good design. It's like sort of a thinned up stormtrooper. It's black. He's got that cool sort of skull mask, helmet. They have those guns that sound really cool. They sound like silenced assault rifles or something like that. And every time they show up, I love a Death Trooper. But the Death Troopers are pinning them down, and Chirrut's walking out onto the beach. He's got his stick. He's just saying his words, and it's been confirmed, I think, by the novelization or something, that Chirrut was actually using the Force to make the Death Troopers miss, not by making their hands go all weird, but by just manipulating the blast a force field around him, and like a force field around him, so the blast would just miss him. It weren't that the Death Troopers aiming were. They don't just have crap aim; they have good aim. Because obviously they've gunned down 20 dudes before now, right?
Yeah.
They don't have bad aim. It's just Chirrut Imway has the Force, and he's using the Force to make the blasts miss him. So I think that was good as well. And I picture to that one guy who's like, we have to find the master switch. It's over by that console or something.
Yeah.
And one guy goes, right, I'm going for it. He jumps out and he immediately gets
shot. He gets shot straight away.
He immediately gets gunned down. Like, oh my God.
I mean, it's all a couple other things. First off, it's also I think the only Star Wars film where a name gets mentioned in the film.
Yeah, Rogue One. Yeah.
Because Bodhi's they're trying to get into the Imperial. And he's what's your he's trying to take a ship. And I'm like, what's your thing? And he's it's Rogue. And he's staring. He's it's Rogue One. We're Rogue One, and then just leave.
Yeah.
And we're like, there's no Rogue One. There is now. And just take off.
Yeah. It's still that.
Also,
I think it's,
I might butcher this. Blue Leader is in this. which was
yes,
supposed
we
to
have to talk
be.
about the X-wings.
Yes, supposed to be in one of the Star Wars films, but couldn't because they couldn't get the blue screen right, so they became red leader instead.
It was supposed to be. There was supposed to be a blue squadron in Episode 4 during the assault on the Death Star, but they couldn't get it right. They couldn't get the blue screen to work correctly. So obviously, they didn't have blue X-wings.
No,
but now they can. So now we have Blue Squadron with. I think he was in. I think this is the guy from Doom. I think this is. I know the character's name. The character is General Merrick. It's General Merrick. The actor Ben Daniels was in Doom, which we've previously reviewed.
We have.
Yeah. So yeah, we've seen that actor before. He's got a cool mustache. He looks like one of those classic 1977 X-wing pilots. With the mustache, with the hair, with sort of the classic British.
Well, a couple
voice.
of the old things were just old footage they found, and they were like, but it's reused.
Red Leader and Gold Leader, show up in this film. I think Red Leader's character's name is Garvin Dryce or something.
Yeah.
And Gold Leader's name is John Vander, and they fly X-wings and Y-wings respectively. And yet, that is archive footage.
Yeah.
That is archive footage with sort of the CGI sort of redone and two. They look like they were really there.
Yeah.
They look like they look more convincing than Tarkin and Leia did, I thought. Probably because it was very quick shots. And they only had a few sort of things. But I swear to you, Gold Leader says Shieldgate. And I was like, Shield, that's new words.
Yeah.
How did he say the word Shieldgate? Because he never says the word Shieldgate in episode 4. And it did sort of sound like, oh, watch out for those towers or something like that.
Yes.
Or hit that opening, that kind of thing.
Yeah, he does repeat the words "watch out for the towers."
He does. But he says sort of things that he would have said during the Death Star assault. But he doesn't say the word Shieldgate. I thought, where did the word Shield? He goes, let's start attacking the Shieldgate or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, those are new words for him. So they've clearly done some sort of. He might have said the word shield and the word gate. And
then put it together.
And they could have possibly put that together. Or maybe they got the actor in, if he's still alive, to kind of do his best. But yeah, it was good to see them, because obviously they would be there, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Obviously the rebellion would throw everything at this. So the fleet was going, they'd throw everything at this. So obviously those X-Wing pilots and the White Knight would be there, and it would make sense for them to be there. And it was logical that they are. So a couple of things about the Battle of Scarif, if we're talking about it.
Yeah, why not?
The Red 5 is killed in the battle.
Yeah.
The character's name is Pedrin Gall, and he's kind of like the Porkins. He kind of sacrifices himself, gets gunned down by TIE fighters, and that leaves his spot open for Luke to take in episode 4. Red 5. And Admiral Raddus, I'm so glad we got Mon Calamari's back. We needed like an Admiral Akbar figure, and we couldn't have Admiral Akbar, so we had Admiral Raddus. And a bit of a background on Admiral Raddus. The guy that voices him, Stephen Stanton, is a voice actor in the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and he based the performance off Winston Churchill.
Nice.
He just has that sort of Churchill way about him. He's like, "We need to act now," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I really like that. He's got his big ship. I think Raddus was actually like the prime minister or the mayor of his planet, Mon Calamari, or something like that. And he took up with the rebels because the Imperials are obviously alien prejudiced, and Mon Calamaris particularly were, because they were so involved in the Republic, Mon Calamaris were particularly pursued and discriminated against by the Empire. So, including the Empire, takes slaves and stuff like that, and were enslaving the Mon Calamari people. So Raddus sort of took his people to the side of the rebellion, and that's why we have Akbar and all.
Yeah.
But also, I love it's become so intricate now. Normally, when we had Admiral Akbar in Return of the Jedi, he'd just flap his mouth open and shut, and you'd believe he was talking. But now it looks a lot more sophisticated now, because people have gotten smarter. So the technology's gotten better. So it looks like he's actually forming the words, and he's like, if that Star Destroyer is disabled, kind of. So he has to actually look like he's saying the words, and it does. It looks really, really convincing. Every prosthetic looks convincing in this. Every sort of costumed creature,
or
alien looks good in this. And that sequence when they get the hammerhead from Star Wars Rebels, and that's actually in the Old Republic. Remember?
I was gonna mention this because I saw that. I saw the hammerhead, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool looking ship." And then I was like, "How is it pushing that massive ship?"
Because it's piloted by Angus from Peep Show.
I was like,
the guy, that same actor, Angus, who plays the hammerhead captain.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Colliding two ships together and having them crash into a shield to open the shield is cool as hell. But I was like, what?
No, it's because the hammerhead managed to sort of fit into that little the Star Destroyer's little sort of side bay area.
Yeah.
Sort of push it sideways using full thrusters. And those hammerheads are old ships. They're from like the Old Republic type time. They're explained in Star Wars Rebels how the Rebellion got them because it was Leia. But I think that's one of the best sequences. How we sort of get the sort of peaceful music. They do the same thing in The Last Jedi, where the Holdo's hyperspace crash is done in complete silence.
Yeah.
But they get the peaceful music, as we get utter death and destruction, and the death of probably thousands of Imperial officers on those Star Destroyers as they have crashed into each other. A couple of small notes while we're at it that I've got. The Star Destroyer above Jeddah is the Dauntless. That's its name. And it's actually featured in a lot of Star Wars media. It was in Star Wars Battlefront 2. It had a prominent role in that. And it was also, I think, in a couple of other books or something like that. So, the Dauntless has made the rounds. According to the Visual Dictionary, Krennic was lying when he said that all Imperial forces were evacuated. About 12 to 15% still remained on Jeddah and did die when the Death Star shot it. That young girl and her family that Jyn saves in the shootout?
Yep.
Yeah, they were in the temple when the Death Star blew it up.
Nice.
It was, and those details, those sort of things that expand the canon, expand the world, are really interesting to me, and I love that sort of stuff that connects throughout the film. So, do you have any sort of little quick things you could say?
I mean, it's just like one of those things where you can watch it without knowing much about Star Wars, and I like that. Like you could probably not watch anything, and you could watch this and go, okay, cool, that makes sense. And I like that. I also like the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, and I might get this wrong as well, this explains that the Death Star can travel using like warp speed or something.
The Death Star does have hyperspace capabilities.
Yes.
That wasn't sort of explained in episode 4, but it was explained this time that the Death Star does have hyperspace capabilities.
I love that. I love the shot of just like the Death Star disappears.
It does, and it's actually there. You can actually. I didn't notice this the first time I watched it. I don't know why, or any of the 5 other times I've watched it.
Yeah.
But because this is probably the Star Wars film I've seen the most, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
But you can actually see the Death Star in the background as Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, the Devastator, is attacking Radiss's flagship. So, but also we see one of those Nebulon B frigates splitting off, and they've never done that before, and that's obviously such a structural weakness that I don't know why no one's ever exploited that before. We've never seen that before in film. So, what the Nebulon B is? That's the medical frigate. It was in the Battle of Scarif, and Vader's Star Destroyer, the Devastator, was obviously it turned up and it was attacking the fleet, and that rebel transport that gets destroyed always gets destroyed.
Yeah.
But then we see the Nebulon B, and it's got like a very thin sort of bridge section between the engine and the front of the ship, and the Devastator's turbo lasers just rip straight through it. It breaks it off, and I thought, that should always happen. Because those ships cannot take firepower like that. But it's such a great film, full of those little details. And you said you can watch it and enjoy it if you haven't seen Star Wars, but if you have, and if you know a lot about it like I do, it's even more of a fun experience.
Yeah.
But it's got 10 reels. There's not much else we can say about it. Any few comments, Corey?
I think we've covered most of it. I think I'm looking at my notes and I think pretty much everything that's got said.
Right. We might do another. We might do a follow-up review of Rogue One because I've definitely got more to say, and I think you have as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that vote of confidence, Corey.
You're welcome.
So let's move on to the weekly rec, shall we? It's my weekly rec this week, and I have another Star Wars. To kick off Star Wars month, we have, I mentioned Star Wars Rebels quite a few times. I'm going to recommend the Season 4 pilot of Star Wars Rebels, Heroes of Mandalore, Part 1 and 2. So this will, I'll just explain a little bit about Star Wars Rebels. Set as sort of a spiritual successor to the Clone Wars, it takes place during the Galactic Civil War between the Empire and the Rebellion, and Heroes of Mandalore focuses on the character of Sabine Wren, who's this Mandalorian, this sort of Mandalorian rebel, and she goes back to her home, meets up with Bo-Katan, who has featured in The Mandalorian and in Rebels and Clone Wars, played by Katie Sackhoff, and then we sort of see that Sabine's created this. A long time ago, she was possibly, she made this inspiration for this Imperial weapon called the Arc Blaster or something like that. And the governor of Mandalore, who is the brother of the previous magistrate of Mandalore, Gar Saxon, has been using this weapon to inflict damage upon the people of Mandalore. So it's up to Sabine and the crew of the Ghost, Harrison Dula and Ezra Bridger and Zeb and all the Jedi and whatever, to come back and try and save Mandalore with the help of Bo-Katan and her Mandalorian rebel group. We get, you say Mads Mikkelsen is in Rogue One, Corey?
Yeah.
Well, his brother Lars Mikkelsen is in Star Wars Rebels. He plays Grand Admiral Thrawn, who is my favourite Star Wars character. So it's always good to see Grand Admiral Thrawn show up. He got brought in from canon. Brought in from the EU. He was in the EU in Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire novels.
Yeah.
And he's now returned in canon through Star Wars Rebels Season 3, and he got a mention in The Mandalorian Season 2, and he's probably going to show up in Ahsoka's show, which is very interesting indeed. So that's my weekly rec. I will give both episodes a real rating. Episode 1, it's sort of classic setup, your pilot for Season 4, I'll give it 7.5 reels, and for Part 2, I will give 8 reels. So that is my weekly rec. Yeah. It is the Star Wars Rebels episode of Season 4, Episode 1, and Episode 2, The Heroes of Mandalore. So there you go.
There we are.
And to play us out, it's another song from Rogue One's soundtrack, 2016's Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. It is Michael Giacchino, a worthy successor to John Williams, with the song Hope. So do enjoy. It's a goodbye from me, goodbye, and a goodbye from Corey.
Goodbye.